You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
On this segment, we are going to go over the pros of LeQuint Allen with each of the three choices. And then later on in the podcast, we're going to talk about the cons of each of the three choices, because with every choice that you make, no matter what it is in life, there are pros and cons to everything. And we have to understand the bigger picture of LeQuint Allen's decision. All right, let's start off with staying at Syracuse. And there are two big pros here. Number one, the comfort. LeQuint Allen is a New Jersey kid. Allen has been with the program since 2022. He has gone through a coaching change, and not only did he, quote unquote, survive the coaching change, he actually got better in 2024 than he was in 2023. So there's that comfort there. He's been with this program now for 3 years. You kind of know the way it works around the program. You've been with a couple of head coaches. Fran Brown's not going anywhere next season, right? Obviously not. A lot of comfort for LeQuint Allen to stay at Syracuse. Number two, he's got a guaranteed lead role if he stays with the Orange. LeQuint Allen, make no mistake, is going to be the workhorse back for Syracuse football again in 2025 if he decides to come back. I like Yassine Willis, the true freshman from this past season. Will Nixon is going to be back from injury this upcoming year. He was the transfer from Washington, but he got hurt and really didn't play a whole lot. But I liked what I saw from Will Nixon when he played. And we'll see if there's any other running back on the roster that can potentially emerge. But let's be clear. Let's not sugarcoat this. Let's not make a mistake. LeQuint Allen, if he comes back for 2025, he's the man in the backfield. Period. End of story. He's really good, and we should want him back being that lead back. So those are the two pros of staying with Syracuse, I should say. Number two, the NFL. The pros of the NFL. Number one, it's fulfilling a dream. I imagine for most football players, making the NFL is the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate dream. And I think that Allen, at minimum, will one day be at an NFL training camp, and I can see him potentially having a productive NFL career. Number two of going to the NFL is it could be a nice salary for the one and only LeQuint Allen. It depends on where he's drafted, or even if he's drafted in 2025. But let's say LeQuint Allen does get a good NFL evaluation. He could get a nice salary. And money matters. Money talks, especially in sports. Okay? I believe the minimum salary for a draft pick over the course of a few years, of course, is a little over $4 million. That's pretty good. Wouldn't you say so? But more on that salary in the next segment, because it's not all peachy, I promise. But it could be a nice salary if it works out for LeQuint Allen. If he goes to the NFL draft, gets drafted, and stays with the team for a few years, could be good for him. And number three, there's transferring. What are the pros of transferring? Well, there's one that's super duper important, and that is NIL. I think LeQuint Allen can certainly play at a program that's a higher level than Syracuse. And that's not me degrading Syracuse. It's me understanding reality. I think the program's certainly on the come up, especially after a 10-3 season. And maybe one day Syracuse can get to that level. But for now, we're not quite there yet. We're not there yet. It's okay. We're certainly better than where we were the last few years, right? But we're not on the level of, let's say, Alabama or Georgia or anything like that. We're not there yet, okay? So what do I mean by that? LeQuint Allen can play at a higher level than Syracuse. He can. And I believe he can play at a higher conference than the ACC. And these schools will typically have bigger budgets, which means they can probably offer more money than what Syracuse can do. And getting the money in football is very, very important. Because according to the NFL, only 1.6% of Division I football players are going to make the NFL. And even if you're in that fortunate 1.6%, the average NFL career is 3.3 years, according to Statista.com. It's a reliable website. To further that point, the average NFL career for a running back is the shortest of any NFL position, just about 2.5 years. And LeQuint Allen's a running back. Think about that for a moment. Because of these statistics, I will never, ever, ever, ever criticize a football player for taking the money. Never. I'm not saying LeQuint Allen's going to do that. Nope, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is that if he decides to transfer, I am almost certain that there is a program out there that can offer more money than Syracuse. And that certainly has to be a factor in your decision. It's in football, it's not like you can retire at 65 and live off your Roth IRA that you saved over all of those years of working. You can't just do that. Most players who play football, they're done by their mid-20s. And then what are you going to do? So those are the pros of every possible choice that LeQuint Allen can make. If he decides to stay at Syracuse, there's that comfort and there's that guaranteed lead role. If he goes to the NFL, he's likely fulfilling a dream and he could get a nice salary. Money talks. And number 3, there's transferring. If he decides to transfer, I imagine there is a school out there that can probably offer more money than Syracuse. If I'm missing any more pros, feel free to let me know in the comment section below.